coalition would undo Palestinian recognition if elected. How can they... Okay, well, it's very petty.
The Australian government, following in the footsteps of some of its allies, such as France, the United Kingdom and Canada, that they will recognise Palestine as a state. This is going to happen at the United Nations General Assembly in New York just next month. Now, the government has declared that this decision that Australia has made will, build the momentum of...
Hello, Starry Hazel. I like your name. That's really pretty.
The number of countries that are saying that Palestine must be recognised, and the Prime Minister's argued that the status quo of what's occurring at the moment isn't working, so something had to change. But the coalition doesn't agree with this decision. Shadow Cabinet met today to discuss its position, and a statement was released shortly after that from the Shadow Foreign Affairs Minister Michaelia Cash, as well as the opposition leader Susan Lee, saying if the coalition was to form government, it would revoke this decision. Let's take a listen to Susan Lee, who spoke just a short time ago.
We would never have made this decision.
Yeah, you also changed the way that your name was spelt so you could get numerology powers. Susan. Alright, I don't really think you're the arbiter of making level-headed, rational decisions, love. I mean, look at that haircut. I know that you make at least $250K a year. Even if you went to Just Cuts, you could get a better haircut than that. No, I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your life, but, come on, love. Come on. Sort it out. I will take you shopping, we'll get a hair treatment. I'll help you out with the eyelash situation. It's just, it's a whole thing. We can do it, though.
Get ahead of a proper peace process is against the interests of the Palestinian people, who deserve a strong, committed, dedicated leadership that cares about their welfare and cares about their future. It makes no sense to recognise a Palestinian state when you have terrorists on the border of Israel who want to see Israel destroyed.
Steffi,
and where are they? Where are they when they're over this border? What state are they in? What state are they in? Where's Gaza? Where's Gaza? Where is it? Is it Palestine? How do Palestinian people exist if there's no state called Palestine? It's well, say that you don't officially recognize it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I mean, I like to do that with, my bills. Oh, well, the debt collectors don't care if, I don't want to recognize that I owe Energy Australia $500, right? They don't care. It's all right, Susan, with 2 S's. Life is hard like that. Life is incredibly hard. All those people are just saying what they say to make money. Otherwise, why would they care? Well, yeah, most people are only motivated by money, unfortunately, Crystal.
Heard from the Prime Minister earlier today. He has strengthened his criticism of Israel's leader, Benjamin Netanyahu.
That's right, Ros. He was asked earlier today, was the actions of the Israeli government part of the decision-making behind what Australia has announced? And his answer was all but yes. Anthony Albanese accusing Benjamin Netanyahu about being in denial about the actions of Israel of this ongoing war in Gaza. Reaction since the Prime Minister made this announcement as well. We heard from Israel's president in a statement. He said that the decision is a grave and dangerous mistake. But Mr Albanese earlier today standing by the decision and listing some of the reasons as to why it was made.
Firstly, the stopping of aid that we've seen, and then the loss of life that we're seeing around those aid distribution points where people queuing for food and water losing their lives. It is just completely unacceptable, and we have said that. I spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu. He again reiterated to me what he has said publicly as well, which is to be in denial about the
Well, he's not in denial. He's just lying straight to your face because he's been able to do it for the last, good part of a quarter of a century. So, why should he stop now, right? If he's always been able to manipulate the West into doing exactly what he wants by just looking them dead in the eye. Iraq's got weapons of mass destruction. You guys better go in there. He's been the little puppet master for quite some time. And it's only now, that we've all got smartphones and that the people in Gaza are able to, film and upload their genocide in real time that, the citizens of countries are seeing this, and most people aren't psychopaths. Most people see innocent children suffering and go, yeah, that's effed up. I don't want to be a party to that. It's really not that hard. And then you see politicians having to capitulate to their constituents' will, right? Like it's not really rocket science. But yeah, in further to your point, Hyperbovian, I think this is going to be the first time that we'll see 3 successive Labour terms in a row since Hawke Keating. So yeah, really long time ago. Because then there was, after Keating got ousted, there was how many terms of Howard? Like, ugh, yuck. Such a blight.
Consequences that are occurring for innocent people. I mean, we have no truck with Hamas. Hamas needs to be disarmed, needs to be gotten rid of.
I don't think you really get to dictate those terms. The most important thing is that we stop people dying. We put Israel in a box and tell them to keep their hands to themselves. I mean, I still strongly believe that there needs to be military intervention by the West to distribute aid to Gaza and to remove the IDF from the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and say this is a sovereign state and you can't just do whatever you want. Like that's because Israel are never going to stop. They're never going to stop. They're so used to being able, since their inception, they've been able to do whatever they want. And yeah, I just don't see them. I just don't see them stopping. Bibi says he wants to hand Gaza to the Arab states. Yeah, like it's his to give away. Like, imagine having your head so far up your own like ass. Imagine.
Rewarding terrorists. That's how opposition leader Susan Lee has described the PM's push to recognise a Palestinian.
I thought her name was Susan Lay. I've heard heaps of people say that. I don't know, Lee, Lay, fashion victim, whatever.
Its leadership. The government's decision is under major scrutiny tonight, with the coalition vowing to reverse it if elected in 3 years' time.
In a hard hat, the hard sell of Australia's position on Palestine.
Yeah, I know, Omar. It's really awful. It is really awful. Yeah, look, like if you want to compare who's killed more people, it's probably the Israeli state, right? But Hamas are the ones that are evil. Like, I don't know, maybe killing people is just wrong, point blank. The Israeli state has just gotten away with so much for so long that they really think at this stage that they can just continue to act and do whatever they want with impunity. And like, I don't see it ever stopping unless the West does, military action against them. And I say that's someone that's staunchly a pacifist and anti-interventionalist, but like if people are being genocided, then obviously that's the exception. That's the exception to using militaristic force.
The international community is saying enough is enough. We need to move forward.
This is a serious and dangerous mistake, Israel's president said, that will not help. Australia, its allies and the Arab League insist Hamas can have no role.
You're not our dad, Israel. You can't tell us what to do. Obviously, did you see how many hundreds of thousands of people marched across the Sydney Harbour Bridge? Obviously, Australians don't support your country. They marched for, the freedom of the Palestinian people from your oppressive, violent regime. And do you know what politicians are supposed to do? They're supposed to represent the wants and desires of their constituents. So if that many people are marching in the middle of winter when it's pissing down rain on the Harbour Bridge where it's windy as heck, I can tell you, I'm a Sydney girl. It is super windy on the Harbour Bridge in winter because I have walked from one side to the other because, I don't know, I was drunk and I thought it would be fun to go to Luna Park. It was closed, but, that's another story. I'm not the brightest candle, on the candelabra, one could say. But, we all make mistakes. But my point is, I know how windy it is on the Harbour Bridge in the middle of winter. So, if that many people are marching under those weather conditions, it's obviously something that, a decent proportion of the Australian people feel strongly about. And so, as Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese should then, echo, the wants of his constituents. And, also to mention that Anthony Albanese's Grandlier, his seat is an inner city suburb where some of these protesters, would have travelled from. So, and obviously a lot of the Western Sydney seats are also Labor seats as well, where, I would say the bulk of the people.
The Palestinian Action Group here insist it's not our call.
How plausible is that?
I don't think it's very plausible, but the key issue here is that Western states can't be determining who is in governance in Palestine.
Of course there is something we can do. We can stop them standing, let alone be elected.
I think we run the very real risk of repeating the mistakes of Iraq and Afghanistan.
To recognise unilaterally a Palestinian state does one thing for the terrorists. It rewards them and it emboldens them.
The coalition.
Her foundation doesn't match her skin colour at all. She looks like an Oompa Loompa. No, I think maybe she's got a really fair complexion. Maybe she needs to get like a Korean, Korean foundations are really good because they make warm and cool tone and neutral tone foundations. Because she looks orange. She looks orange, guys. It's not a look.
Vowing to undo the decision.
For this government to take this action offends every fair-thinking, decent Australian.
Sentiment shared by her predecessor.
Oh, did you see those liver spots on Tony Abbott's face? Oof, 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 oof.
The only winner is Hamas, said Scott Morrison in a statement.
I know, clearly the winners will be, the Palestinian people who probably don't want to be murdered in cold blood. I would say they would... Wait, why is she green? Does she look green to you? She looks really orange to me. She looks like she has liver problems. When you have something wrong with your liver and you produce a lot of bilirubins and it's like jaundice and it turns yellow. Oh, the back of her neck. I didn't see it. I didn't see the back of her neck, but maybe she's a lizard person. Oh, let's take lots of photos of, let's take lots of screenshots of Susan Leigh's neck and start the hashtag Susan Leigh is a lizard person. That's what I want to do. Yeah, I'm going to go back and see her neck. That is a good idea. I want to see it. Oh, here, under here. I see what you mean. She does look green under there. Sorry, I thought you said the back of her neck. It must just be me imagining. But yeah, I can see what you mean. Under her chin here and here. Yeah, no, I can see that now. I can see that. Yeah, either she's into some kinky stuff in the bedroom and likes getting choked, or what? Why is she green there? Is it a bruise? Is she a lizard person? You think that's the sunscreen? She doesn't look like she's an avid user of sunscreen, Hyperbovian. She doesn't look like she uses sunscreen. I'm just gonna say I don't know how old she is, but I think this is premature aging. Her skin is not fully transformed into a lizard skin yet.
Australian.
Sentiment shared by her predecessors. The only winner is Hamas, said Scott Morrison in a statement. I know this is not their intention, but it is the result. The caravan of appeasement is not one we should join.
This is our Prime Minister. Do you remember the really bad bushfires when most of Australia's habited regions were literally on fire? This guy was on holiday in Hawaii. He wasn't even in Australia and he didn't even come back. And he goes, "Oh, I don't hold a hose, mate." And it's well, yeah, obviously you're a useless idiot that's never had a real job. We wouldn't expect you to hold a hose. But what we would expect you to do is come back and coordinate the federal response to the fires, which is your job because you're freaking literally the Prime Minister. He's such a piece of shit. And he's also one of those fake Christians that's a prosperity church. I don't know if it's Hillsong, but it's Hillsong. Good old Scott shat himself at Engadine Macca's. That is the best story ever. I've only ever been through the drive-thru at Engadine Macca's on my way to Cronulla, I think. I was going to Cronulla Beach one time. But that was a long time ago.
Join. On Twitter, Tony Abbott said recognition of Palestine should be a reward for good behaviour, not bad.
Having now made the announcement.
Oh, we know that you're all being murdered in cold blood now and that your people are being erased from the face of the earth. But could you guys try and engage in just, be a little bit more well behaved, and then maybe we will recognize your state. Are these people insane? And Tony Abbott's supposed to be a devout Catholic, so he's supposed to be pro-life. He's supposed to believe in the sanctity of human life. So why is he okay with all these Palestinians being murdered in cold blood? Because I'm Catholic and I find it very disturbing.
announcement, Australia is relying on the Arab League in particular to help force Hamas from power in Gaza.
Oh, look, there are people who want to think that it's like a football game between, you know, South and the Broncos, and you got to back in your team and you got to back them in. What we need is a win-win.
In an area that's seen so many losses. Charles Croucher, 9 News.
We like a footy analogy, even if he is a South supporter, at least he's not a Broncos supporter. And at least it's a New South Wales team. And, you know, that's really the takeaway. Because, fuck Queensland. No, just kidding. But also, I'm just kidding, Queensland. You're all right. You're probably all right. I don't know. I've never been to Queensland, but you're probably all right. Except at State of Origin. Then you're not. Then you're my enemy and you must die. Should we watch a current affair? I haven't watched that in a minute. Usually there are, you know, tracking down sex pests and love rats and the like, but now they're doing a serious piece. Maybe we should watch it.
Well, it's the recognition that's divided the world for years. And today Australia joined a chorus of countries calling for the recognition of a Palestinian state. The Prime Minister's decision putting us at odds with world superpower, the United States.
A two-state solution is humanity's best hope to break the cycle of violence in the Middle East and to bring an end to the conflict, suffering and starvation in Gaza.
Political scientist and honorary professor at the University of Sydney, Simon Jackman, joins me. Simon, appreciate your time. Why has our...
You're from Dagestan? Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Who's the UFC fighter that's from Dagestan? I can't think of his name. It's on the tip of my... Is it Khabib? Is Khabib from Dagestan? I think he is. Sorry if that's wrong.
Prime Minister decided to do this, and why now?
I think it had been in the works for quite some time, but I think the decisions by the United Kingdom, France, Canada in particular, really gave the government no other choice now. Now is the time to do this. There's a ton of head cover from other members of the Western Alliance system, and also looking at that march we had 2 weeks ago. It was a terrible day in Sydney, yet 90,000 people march on the bridge, a measure, I think, of how...
People that, like, have the technology to head count aerially, they said that there was over 300,000 people there. Because even, like, this used to be, like, you know, like, DARPA technology, like, 50 years ago to have, like, drones that could head count. But now just lay people have them, and it's really, really easy to count how many, because there were so many drone shots. They could count how many people were there, and there were, like, at least 300,000 people there. Oh, nice to meet you too, Omar. Nice to meet you. What time is it in Dagestan?
Deeply this is resonating inside Australian domestic politics and in parts of the Labor Party in particular.
Some are saying it's tokenistic, others that it's rewarding terrorism. Is it either of those things?
I don't think it's the latter for a start. I think it is a measure of tokenism. Australia is a long way from the Middle East. It is an announcement about what might happen at some date in the future. There's unstated conditions attached to it. But nonetheless, Australia adding its voice to this chorus of major Western powers now that are isolating both the Netanyahu government and, importantly, the Trump administration. So I think it's an important step.
Do you think someone like President Trump being the last guy standing, is that going to sway him?
It might, but I think what is swaying Donald Trump is television. The images coming out of Gaza, just as it's galvanised public opinion in Australia, I think is also having an impact on an avid consumer of television, one Donald Trump. And I think he is starting to realise perhaps he's lent a little too far forward on this one. He's the key player in all this, to be honest, in terms of changing facts on the ground and on what timeline.
Well, that's it. I mean, unless the US supports it, nothing happens. And what does this also mean for our relationship?
Hyperbovian says he thinks it's important the Five Eyes is unified on this. Yeah, and it seems like all the Five Eye nations have come out and explicitly stated that at the next UN General Assembly that they have every intention of recognizing a Palestinian state. But that's obviously just the first step. There needs to be physical on the ground intervention.
With the US, it's kind of on a bit of shaky ground. Does Australia's decision today impact that at all?
I don't think so.
Do I think that Trump is in the Epstein files? I do think he's in the Epstein files because they knew each other. Whether or not he's, there's something untoward about him in there is another thing, right? yeah, we won't know if he did anything. But the thing is, if he had nothing to hide, if it was just like, oh, he went to a few parties that Epstein was at because they're both New York billionaires, then people would be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense, you know. But the fact that he's like so dead set on not having them released makes me think that maybe he might have partaken. I don't know, I can't speak English. He might have participated in some nefarious activities, shall we say. He has a lot of stories about the pageant girls. Yeah, I think that was where the grab them by the kitty cat came from. It's looking like Trump was a partner to Epstein. Well, it is incredibly suspicious that the majority of his voter base wants the files released, and he's so apprehensive to do it because he obviously is somebody with a massive ego who cares about how he's perceived by the public. So it is a bit strange. You know, if he didn't do anything, if he's not implicated in anything like nefarious, then why wouldn't he just release it all unredacted? Well, besides the victims' names. Obviously, no one has an issue with redacting the victims' names. But the perpetrators, no, we want to know those names. The Epstein files is a weird situation, in your opinion, because it could genuinely be either way. Well, yeah, but the thing is, we can't ascertain that until we know, until we read it. But I feel like if you had nothing to hide, right, you would just release the whole thing. And obviously take the precautions to, protect the victims of crime, like the women and children that were actually, hurt. But yeah, everybody else that's like peripheral to that, like I don't see why they need to have their identities protected.
I think this has been very carefully workshopped. Again, Australia did not front run this. We are coming in behind other big partners of the United States, Britain in particular, with whom Trump and Keir Starmer seem to have a workable relationship. This seems to be surviving that. I expect this will as well, Australia being part of this chorus. Now, I don't think that's going to draw any undue attention or ire from the Trump administration.
So a condition of recognition is that Hamas has no role in any future government. We've seen what they do to those who dissent. What is the likelihood of them being kicked out, and where will they go?
They are being taken apart as an operational entity, and that is something that the Israeli military action is in fact doing. But the sentiment that gives rise to a formation like Hamas, does that retreat back into, frankly, what's left of Palestinian civil society? And if and when we have elections for a Palestinian government, where does that sentiment go? Because this has happened in the past, where free and fair elections have led to quite militant voices finding their way into legitimate positions of authority in some form.
But that's what self-determination is. If the people of Palestine determined that's the type of governance that they wanted, like maybe they look at our governance and they think that like that's unsavory, like it's different cultures, different religions, different values. Like, why is it our place to say that ours is the right way to do stuff? I don't know. Like, it's not our place to say. It's the Palestinian people's place to stay. And if they want Hamas to be involved in the governance of the country, surely that's for them to determine. And look, like, you can hold them accountable to international law if you want. I mean, you're not holding Bibi Netanyahu accountable, so that would make you a hypocrite. But the West likes to do that a lot when it comes to the Middle East. So here we are.
Of a Palestinian government.
I mean, just looking at the state of Gaza right now, it is gutted, people are starving. It is hard to imagine how they'll become a functioning state, let alone hold an election.
While this is a very welcome statement from Canberra today, statements in Canberra aren't making, tonight at least, people less hungry or more secure in Gaza. And I think what is it the world system can do to change those circumstances? Elections and the form of a Palestinian regime going forward are a long way down the track from here.
Is there anything in today's announcement that makes Israel more vulnerable?
Absolutely. This puts ever more pressure on Israel. Australia, a, quote, middle power, but joining the Western Alliance and a set of countries that on most days of the week are rock solid.
Catzilla's giving me double views on YouTube and on Twitch. Yay! If only I was monetized.
The United States on most questions coming before the United Nations, showing that it is willing to break company with the United States on this issue. I think that's enormously significant.
What about the impact here at home? For almost 2 years, we've seen just how ugly things can get, even though the conflict is half a world away.
I'd be astonished if today's announcement led to unrest here. The writing's been on the wall for this one. It was just a question of when, not if, Australia would join international partners in recognising a Palestinian state. So I don't think this is landing as a huge surprise, although nonetheless disappointing to members of the Jewish community.
So a two-state solution, when you have Israelis and Palestinians living peacefully side by side, after everything we have seen happen, do you honestly...
You know what's interesting? As a Catholic, I don't care about what the Italian government does. I don't even really care what, what's going on in the Vatican, to be perfectly honest. But the Jewish Australians seem to be very, 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 hyper concerned with what's happening in Palestine. It's got nothing to do with you. If you're Australian, why does it matter? Why does it matter to you? I mean, obviously, I care who the Pope is and I care what the Pope is saying. But yeah, in terms of caring about that, it's almost like there's IOs. Well, yeah, that's what I was getting at. Havas Ard. Hello.